Welcome to another episode where we're restoring a 46-foot John Pugh motor sailor. So this week we've just got a lot of odd little jobs to try and complete on the hull, because soon enough we want to try and get to blasting all the new areas of steel and getting a final undercoat done on the exterior of the hull. So I've got a lot of little patches I've just got to fix up. Shore connection that was done poorly, as you saw last week. I've got to weld that up. Another bit where I think they wanted a throttle controller in there, that's got to be fixed up. We're going to make a bracket for the high pressure water pump, get that in there. But a lot of jobs, not a lot of time. It's my kid's birthday this week, so I've got to spend time with them, so I won't get time on the weekend to finish off a couple of jobs. So I might be cut short abruptly, but I'll see how much I can get done. So I'm going to get cracking straight away. I've not got a lot of time, so not too much time to talk. Sorry guys, off to work. Step one of filling up this square here is to grind out the previous welds and neaten up this hole, ready for a new piece. So this is all ready to make the new piece up. I've taken off the paint around the edges so I can weld it better, and we've got a nice straight line now all sides. So we'll get the piece measured up and cut to fit in there. So we're just going to start welding today. I've put my replacement piece in. It's being held in there by a couple of magnets. And I'm going to tack weld this in and then tack weld in the other side, and then we'll get into the full weld. Unboxed my high pressure water pump, and I was hoping to see a template that I can unfold and use as a template to cut out and drill my holes. However, it doesn't have a template. They are nice enough to provide some detailed drawings, and the center line in between here and here is 80mm, which is nice. And it's just an 80mm square. I did think I can use my 3mm plate, but I thought it's going to be a bit too flimsy for my bracket. So I found this 6mm, and I'll cut a piece out this 6mm plate. So I've cut out my little plate. I'm going to draw a center line, come out 40mm each side of the center line, draw another center line, come out 40mm either side of the center line, and then this should be able to bolt on nicely here, and that way put the bolts on through here. We'll have to drill out holes for these two because those two holes are actually not flush. I don't know if you can see that. Those are actually in the way, so this bracket can never bolt on nice and flush. Just thought I'd pop a drawing on the whiteboard here to explain what we're doing with this plate. So first step is to do a center line on each side, and then we mark out where our hole positions are and drill the holes. And when the holes are drilled, on the back of the plate we'll have 4 nuts either side, and the plan is to weld in a plate either side, which becomes a bracket. And all these nuts will rest against that plate so they don't turn when you do them up. So the only thing you have to do is stick the nut underneath and then screw it in from the top, and these will not spin, not turn when the plate is there. So the plate is going to look something like this, and the nuts will have a through hole here where the nuts will end up like that, so that this wedges against the nut and the nut can't spin. So that's a plan for the bracket for the high pressure pump. Then that will have a weld either side. I won't be able to weld on the inside because my welder won't get in there, so there is a potential of having corrosion under here, but we can put a very good lot of paint on the inside. But the good thing about only having the weld here is if I need to come in with my grinder and then cut out this weld on either side, I can easily do that. It'll be very difficult to grind out the weld on the inside of the bracket. However, the bracket will last years, and if I need to replace it, it's just a matter of taking out 2 welds which are easily accessible, and off it comes and put a new one on. So that's the plan for this bracket, and we'll get cracking onto that. going to drill all these holes out a bit bigger than I did on the combings. So looking like I might go 10mm drill bit. Fits in quite nicely into there. I'll go slightly smaller bolts, so probably M8 bolts, and I'm going to drill a pilot hole because I don't want to go straight through with a 10mm. So I'm going to drill a pilot hole 5mm and then go up to 10. My drill bit seems very blunt, so I'm going to have to sharpen it. So we have this plate all drilled up and the holes are chamfered and the sides are all deburred. So we just got to make those little side pieces for the nuts to go onto. So now we've just got to determine where the flat of the nut will sit. So an M10 nut has an OD on the flats of 15mm, which gives me a flat area approximately here. An M8 has a flat OD of approximately 13mm, which is about the same. So I'm going to go the 15 M10, bigger bolt, bigger nut, much nicer, and that's where I'm going to weld my bracket. The other way to check is that is a 10mm. That's a 10mm hole, and half the distance, so that the difference is 5mm, and half of that is 2.5. So we could also mark it out that way, which is the same. My friends are coming back. So we have had a bit of a weather change, but thought we'd just show you what I've completed this week. So we welded up a patch here where the throttle controller might have been, a big rectangular patch. But I found a little bit of corrosion here, so I just quickly cut that out and welded that up. And we've replaced this patch here, which had the shore connection box. Gave a little bit of paint to protect it before I get to sandblasting. So all the corrosion and holes are all patched up in the cockpit. I'm probably going to remove this gerard because we're inside an enclosure here. It's not going to get any air vent unless I use that and put one of those solar paneled or 12-volt electric dome ones, and we can sort of use that because it sits over the top of the stove. So got to put a bit of thought into that one. So up here at the bow we finished our little bracket. I'm not going to weld this in just yet because it's quite corroded on the back side here, and if I welded that in I won't be able to blast and paint the back of that very well. So I'm going to leave it off, give it a proper blast while it's off. So the setup I'm looking at going for is to pop this bracket down here, just weld one bead of weld either side, one there, one across here. Then this water pump will be able to sit in here. I'll have hoses coming off each side, and then the wiring is also accessible up the top here in case we need to get to that. So yeah, hose going this side, hose going this side, wires up the top, and then we have a hatch up top so we can actually we'll be able to access this high pressure water pump for maintenance whenever we need to, because it's just going to be sitting here. And then on the other side we've got another access hole. Open that up and we can pull out a water hose to wash the anchor down as it comes up. So yeah, this bracket's going to go in here, high pressure water pump on top of that, and then we're all set to go. So that's my plan for this. So those drains down there, if we get a leaking hose, it's all just going to go out the drain, not going to fill up any compartments. We will end up having on the other side of this compartment here, this bulkhead, there will be an anchor chain locker, and which will drain into this drain as well. So yeah, we're not going to have any build up of water. So that's my plan for the front of the boat there. One thing looking at having to think about this week is possibly moving these gerards. They look nice in that position, and if we stand back it leaves us with a very nice big open area. You can pop a dinghy on top, you can pop the life raft there, you can even just throw some bean bags and sit around. It's a really nice convenient open spot here. However, I have been noticing, well, sitting around on my boat, is the angle of this piece here is actually quite comfortable. So if I was to sit there, he's back. If I was to sit on here, it's actually quite comfortable, except for one thing worries me, is that this gerard could be in a bad spot. So thinking might move them just past my feet, and then if you're even laying on here, you could put your feet up against the gerard and you won't slide forward. So that's an option we've got to think about. That could be an inconvenient spot when a big wave hits the boat and you're sitting here. So might look at seeing if we might move them down a little bit. I don't think it'll encroach into that area too much. We could still use that area as a nice, you know, open deck spot. So got to have a think about that. So that's brought us to the end of another episode. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed it. Let us know what you guys think about moving those gerards, or even that one in the cockpit, if we can use that as an event. Those all ideas I'm playing with at the moment. So next week what I want to try and get onto is installing this air compressor. So we've got it running, done an oil change, got it all up and going. I've got to install a T-piece coming out here. This is the outlet for the compressed air. We want one to go into the shipping container and then one to go over and around to the boat. So that's a big long piece of hose. but that'll get this running, and then I'll bring my sandblaster here and then get that all prepped and ready to go for when we need to sandblast all the weld prep that we've done. So all the pieces of weld that I've put on the boat so far, they all require blasting because they have no profile. They're just from the factory. They've got what's called mill scale over the top of them. You can't paint over that. It's just going to come off in, you know, about a year's time. You'll have paint peeling off everywhere. So we're going to get to setting up, getting all them blasted, see if I can get onto putting that bracket in for the high pressure water pump, and yeah, see how I go for time. So let us know what you guys think. Leave a comment, and we'll get back to everyone. Thanks guys.